Writer E. Jean Carroll has now wrapped her testimony in the civil rape case against Donald Trump. And as you probably were expecting, it got incredibly dirty. Not only the horrendous subject matter, but the way that E. Jean Carroll was treated by the Trump legal team, and especially Joe Tacopina, who cross-examined her and rolled out a lot of the normal sort of attacks against people making claims of sexual assault against powerful individuals that you've probably heard in past cases. They basically try to picture as someone who's just attention seeking, looking to make a name for yourself. The same as every woman who accuses a man of sexual misconduct. You just want attention, and as we all know, there's no better attention than assuring that you're gonna receive death threats from MAGA people for the rest of your life. In any event, on Thursday, Joe Tacopina spent considerable time probing an email between Carroll and a friend where they discussed the need to stop Trump and said they had a scheme in mind. He also repeatedly questioned why Carroll didn't scream when the alleged rape took place, or why there was no one around to witness the incident. So those are interesting points. Why don't we address those? So could you have a scheme and also have been raped? I don't think that that's impossible. He doesn't engage with it intellectually. Why didn't she scream? Why was no one around? Let me flip the causality on that for you, Joe Tacopino. Maybe that's why he chose that time to rape her. Have you considered that there weren't a lot of people around? Why she didn't scream? The game that they play with all of the different hurdles you need to pass to be the perfect, proper victim of sexual assault is a pointless game to play, because those hurdles can keep being extended as far as they need to be. If she had screamed, do you think that Joe Tacopina would be defending her right now instead of Trump? Does anyone think that there's anything that she could have done? Any amount of alarms she could have raised, reports she could have filed in the immediate aftermath that would have caused defenders of Donald Trump to say, oh, I guess there's really something here. I'm re-questioning my loyalty to this guy. I kind of doubt it. But Danielle, what do you think?
I mean, it's so, Joe Tacopino is he's like a cartoon character almost, right? Like in terms of the types of people, the types of lawyers that Trump likes to surround himself with. But there is no perfect victim, right? And statistics have shown that a majority of rape victims do not scream, right? Your body, your mind goes into shock of this assault, this traumatic assault that is happening. So one, that is BS. And then this idea that why were there no witnesses? I'm sorry, do most rapes happen in broad daylight in the middle of a park? They do not, right? And so again, all the ways in which you have debunked the line of questioning is right. And I think, again, folks, none of this is normal. The idea that we have a man that is currently running for a second term at being president of the United States that is on trial for rape is unheard of. And yet we are acting as if, oh, this is just par for the course. This is not par for the course. And she is one of over 20 women that have accused Donald Trump of sexual assault and sexual harassment over his decades of being in the public eye. And so I think that what is going to be damning, which I believe is either happening today or later this week, which is the testimony of the two other women who are going to be coming forward. And I gotta tell you, I can think of a lot of friggin' ways to make money. Putting my life on the line and saying that I was raped by a former president of the United States who I know, whose loyal fan base is violent, is not one of them, right? I can think of a lot of other ways to go about making money. This ain't one of them. And so that on its face is just BS. But I think that the testimony from the two other women that is going to be was permitted by the judge, is going to show this pattern of abuse that Donald Trump has exercised, because their stories sound really similar, right? And in his own words, when you're a star, they let you do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, obviously what Donald Trump has said is not itself proof of any individual sexual assault, but as a general rule, if you wanted to inoculate yourself against these sorts of accusations, maybe you wouldn't brag about doing the exact thing that you're being accused of doing. That would be my advice. By the way, isn't it funny that they would have you believe. I don't believe anything that Taco Pina is saying or any of the defenders of Donald Trump about what they think about her reaction, that they're genuinely not convinced by it. They believe that if someone rings your doorbell or pulls their car into your driveway, that a reasonable response is, "Oh my God, just start shooting." People react in different ways, okay? It's funny what they think is acceptable and what's not. If she had murdered him, would that be acceptable? If she had pulled a revolver out of her purse and plugged him in the chest a couple of times, would you be convinced then, MAGA world? In any event, she says there was too much adrenaline, his chest was in the way, she feared making a scene. I mean, think about this. I've always thought that it's incredibly bizarre that anyone had, a single minute to give to Donald Trump ever. But at that point, back in the 90s, he was a relatively beloved figure in New York. You want to be the person, a writer who's accusing him of sexual assault? It might have been marginally less dangerous then than when he's, the head of this cult or whatever. But it still is incredibly difficult. And they dug so much into her past trying to find inconsistencies. She apparently was groped by Les Moonves, and they're like, well, why didn't you say anything about that? Well, I don't know, man. Maybe the fact that she's routinely been victimized throughout her life hasn't given her a lot of faith in power structures to protect her. Then they point out, after she says, I was born in 1943, I'm a member of the silent generation. Women like me were taught to keep our chins up and not complain. The fact that I never went to the police is not surprising for someone my age. I would have rather done anything than call the police. They then say, yeah, well, when someone damaged a mailbox at your house, you called the cops then, so you'll do it for a mailbox, but not a sexual assault. It is possible. I've seen photos of Joe Tacopino, so I will accept that he might be as stupid as you would believe from that statement. Maybe the fact that it's less serious frees her up to feel like maybe the cops will do something, whereas when it's accusing billionaires of rape, that might be scarier as a prospect. Again, what we're gonna drag Joe Tacopina into the modern world. He's not listening, he doesn't care. He's paid to act like the idiot that he is. But anyway, as you point out, there are multiple contemporaneous witnesses that she told at that time. If they want to make the case that she's been lying about it for 30 years, then go right ahead. But I think that their defense is shaping up to be satisfying to the MAGA base in that it is inherently misogynistic, but beyond that, not particularly convincing. Any final thoughts?
I mean, I just think, for Joe Tacopina to even bring up Lee Moonves, wasn't he fired for sexual assault? Didn't the network have to pay out money? So yeah, he was a sexual assaulter. I don't was he trying to help her defense? I have no idea, because I thought that was absolutely ridiculous. But again, the testimony of these other two women, including her, will show the pattern. And again, to your point, if you don't want to be accused of these things, maybe don't be caught saying things on tape that would lead people to believe this is a deep possibility that you're a sexual assaulter.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.